Welcome back to part 2 of the Western Conference first round. Before we get started, be sure to like this video, comment down below any thoughts you may have, and definitely hit that red subscribe button to get notifications of new and upcoming videos. There's a lot of content and a lot of videos that I'm going to be uploading soon, so you definitely want to be sure not to miss them by hitting that red subscribe button. Let's get into it. So we have another series here where we have the Houston Rockets versus the Utah Jazz. And honestly, I got nervous for the Jazz because I thought they were going to get swept, because Donovan Mitchell, this is the second year now where he really didn't perform strong. He's still learning the game. He's still learning, especially in the times, when it comes to the playoffs. I think they could have won game 3. They only lost by 3 points. I think I watched that game. Game 3, Donovan Mitchell had 34 points, but they couldn't come away with the win. The Rockets won 104-101, and that could have actually, they could have won up. No, they would have been down. They would have been down. They still would have been down 2-1. But as you see, they bounced back in game 4, and they won that one with Donovan Mitchell scoring 31 points. But Donovan Mitchell needs help. Let's just be honest. He needs help. He can't do it by himself. James Harden actually didn't do too bad with the 29 points, 32 points, 31 points, and 26 points. I don't know what he scored in game 3, but he did pretty good. James Harden, likely to win MVP 3 times in a row. He averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists off of 35% from the 3 and 37% from the field goal range. You'd like to see that field goal percent be a little higher. But for those of you who don't know, James Harden gets most of his points off of his free throws. For the entirety of this series, James Harden scored 32 points off the free throw line. 32 points. That's a lot. That's a lot. For him to average 27 points and he got 32 points out of 37, he only missed 5 free throws the entire playoffs. But he got 32 points alone off the free throw line. So, to me, people get mad. Oh, well, he's always flopping. I do agree. James Harden at times does throw his body, in abnormal ways to get a foul call. But that's when he's behind the 3. I think when he's driving, they do foul him, but he has so much strength and, he has that upper body that, hey, you foul him and he'll get the N1. It's just, he's a scorer. He's a prolific scorer that we have not seen before. Kobe Bryant scores, but, it's just, Kobe Bryant wasn't as, because to me, James Harden could score any type of way with that step back 3 or getting into the lane. But the argument could go on both sides, because when Kobe Bryant was playing, fouls weren't, not that many fouls were called back then for Kobe as they were now. Like right now, the NBA is a touchy-feely league. Like you can't even put your forearm on a defender or you'll get called for a foul. It's just, the touchiness of the league is very sensitive right now. So, but I'm not making any excuses. I still believe James Harden is a phenomenal player. He is either going to be an MVP again this year, or if he's not, he's definitely front runner. Again, he averaged 27 points. And then you have Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, Clint Capella, Austin Rivers, Kenneth Faried, very energetic, Gerald Green. They have a great squad, and not only James Harden did by himself, but they have a great supporting cast and just a great overall team. And I had the Rockets, of course, winning against the Utah Jazz. I had the Jazz winning 2 games, so I was short 1. But Donovan Mitchell, he just has to work on his consistency, and he has to work on playing under pressure, because he only shot 25% from 3-point range, which is unacceptable for the playoffs. You have to bring that up higher to maybe about 30 to 33 and somewhere in that. And forget about stats for a second. Let's just make it plain. Donovan Mitchell, you have to make your shots. When it comes to the playoffs, no matter how many threes you made before this, no matter how good you were balling before this, that's, to me, the playoffs is requiring another level or a different version or a higher version of you. No matter what player you are, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, as soon as you step into the playoffs, as soon as you step foot on that court, the playoffs demand a greater version of yourself as a basketball player. And some people can meet that and some people can't. And unfortunately, Donovan Mitchell did not meet this requirement. He only shot 32% from the field. And honestly, to me, besides Donovan Mitchell, he really didn't have much help. Kyle Korver is a good three-point shooter, but he's a liability on defense. Rudy Gobert, if he can get an offensive game, a consistent offensive game, I think he could definitely be your second option when it comes to scoring. Jay Crowder actually had one great game, and I get it was just one great game because besides that, he only averaged 30% from three, which is not too bad. Rookie Rubio, they need an upgrade at point guard. Honestly, if a Kemba Walker can get to the Jazz, that would be phenomenal. That would be great for the Jazz, and have Rubio come off the bench, because Rubio shot 42% from the field, which is good, but he only shot 20% from the three. And don't get me started on, I think it was game 3 when the Rockets were coming back and Rubio had the chance to take the lead for the Jazz. He had a wide open 3 and he airballed it. That is disappointing. You have a chance to take the lead in the game, late in the game, to potentially be the game-winning 3 to push the league, but also to win the game, and you airball it. So Rookie Rubio, you got to work on your threes, man. It was disappointing to see that. But again, at the same time, when he first came into the league, he couldn't shoot at all. So there is some type of improvement there, but just not enough to get them over the hump. We'll see what they do during the offseason, but they definitely are going to have to require another scorer, because Donovan Mitchell can't do it all on his own. So again, that was an okay series. It was a average series, but the Rockets came away with 4-1. And as we know, the Rockets will be playing the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors beat the LA Clippers, and I'll be honest, I'm surprised that they escaped. I'm surprised that the Warriors escaped in 6 games. I really had the Warriors winning that game in 7 games, because you can't sleep on the Clippers, man. Because one thing about the Warriors, they're so great of a team that when they get up in points, when they oh man, it's like they could score in a second. They can score in a flash, and when they get up in points, it's like they begin to put it in cruise control. They're just like, you know what, we're gonna chill right here. We just gonna chill, as we saw in game 2, I believe, as we saw that the Warriors were up. The Warriors were up 31 points in game 2. 31 points. And for those of you that don't know, the final score of that game was 135 to 131. The W going to the Los Angeles Clippers. I watched that game. Well, I watched that game all the way up to the second half. Second half came, the Warriors was up 31. I was like, all right, I'm taking a shower. After I take me a shower, get me some ice cream, a little late night snack, because live on the East Coast, and those Warriors games, West Coast games, honestly are a little late. But when you love basketball, you're willing to make that sacrifice. So, like I said, halftime, they were up 31 points. I get back, out the shower, get downstairs, get comfortable and everything. The game is a 6-point game. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, because I saw it on my phone. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe the scrubs got in and the scrubs got close. I get in the game. I look at my phone. I pull up the game, and it's all the starters in the game. Clippers only down 6, and they end up pulling off the W with, again, like I told you guys in my first podcast, Lou Williams, 36 points. And then you have Montrezl Harrell with 10 rebounds. That dynamic duo, man, is something that's just like I said in my previous podcast about me being excited about the Nets. I'm also excited about the Clippers for this free agency, man. The Nets and the Clippers are 2 teams to watch when this free agency comes, because they have 2 max slots. But again, be quiet. I'm going to say that from my next podcast for, what are these 2 losing teams to do, or what to expect, or, what's going to happen. So I'm excited for the Clippers for the free agency. So even though they didn't win this series, their future is very bright for this team and everything. So it was great, to see this game or this series go 6 games. I definitely thought it was going to go 7 because of the lackadaisicalness, if that's a word, of Golden State Warriors, of them, at times just taking their foot off the pedal, which honestly it comes back and it bites them in the butt. But when you have a guy like Kevin Durant, on that already stacked team, there's no way this team was going to lose. Let's just be real. Kevin Durant scored 50 in the last game, scored 45 in the game before that. Honestly, Kevin Durant, man, he averaged 35 points per game off of 56% shooting from the field, 40% from three, and he averaged 5 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 2 steals, and just one block, and he was balling, man. He was balling. This man scored 210 points in this series all alone, all by himself. And to be honest, guys, this is the NBA confession. You can either agree or disagree. But to be honest, without Kevin Durant, I don't think this Warriors squad would have made it out of the first round. I'm just going to be honest. DeMarcus Cousins went down in that. I think it was the second game. Yeah, he went down in the second game. And to me, that was a benefit for the Warriors because I like DeMarcus Cousins. But I didn't think he meshed well with this Warriors squad. I think he had more minuses than he had plus when he was on the court. But he was still a threat. He still played somewhat good. He played all right. But he was already coming off an Achilles injury on top of all that. So it sucked to see him go down. But I think that made this team better because then once DeMarcus went down, you have this Hampton 5 lined up with Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andre Iguodala, who is playing like Father Time is nowhere near him. He's playing like he found the youth, the fountain of youth. Andre Iguodala, even though he only averaged 10 points, the stats don't really speak for themselves, but Andre Iguodala is a key component for this team. Without Iguodala and without Durant, again, I don't see this team advancing past the first round. Klay Thompson, he struggled with 17 points per game, which is not too bad, but again, he struggled. This is Thompson we're talking about. Stephen Curry, he averaged 24 points. He started out hot, dropping 38 points in the first game, and then foul trouble. One thing that's going to be interesting to see, and even in this next series against the Rockets, because we know they have the Rockets in the next round, is the foul trouble. Steph Curry averaged 4 fouls per game in this series. That's a hard pill to swallow. When he's your second best player on your team, you cannot be you can't be fouling and putting your team in foul trouble like that. Not only his team, but himself. Because of his foul trouble, he wasn't able to be as aggressive as he wanted to be. After the first game, that's when his foul troubles really began. But to me, it was bittersweet because I actually enjoyed seeing Curry take on Patrick Beverly and whoever he was guarding. He took on that challenge, and even though he was at times overly aggressive or reaching too much on the defensive side, it was still exciting to see Curry take on that challenge, because most people say that he is a liability on defense. And I think in this series, and honestly I think throughout this playoffs, he's on a mission to prove people wrong, that he can be more aggressive and he can be effective not only just on the offensive end, but also on the defensive end. So to see that tenacity from him, I was actually impressed. Even though, like I said, they don't need him in foul trouble, but nevertheless, I was still impressed. And it was still a great series for him. Curry, man, he was still balling. He shot 50% from 3, which means if you're watching the game, you see him miss 1 3, you're like, all right, he's making the next one. Or if you see him miss 2 threes, all right, he's going to make the next 2. Or if you see him miss 5 threes, he's going to make the next 5. Somehow, some way, he averaged 50% altogether. And, that's awesome. That's awesome to see. So the Warriors, man, of course, they're the favorites to win the playoffs. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. It depends on who wins this series between the Rockets and the Clippers. The Rockets and the Clippers. Forgive me. Who wins this series between the Rockets and the Warriors? In my personal opinion, that whoever wins between the Rockets and the Warriors, they will go on to win the finals. I'm just going to be honest. Or at least I won't even go that far to say, but I'll definitely say they'll go on to make the finals. So if the Rockets win this series, the Rockets will make it to the finals. If the Warriors win this series, then the Warriors will go on to win or to play in the finals, because we don't know just yet who's going to come out of the East. So I'm not going to say that whoever wins the West is going to automatically win the East. I think for the East is either going to be the Bucks, the 76ers, or the Celtics. And depending on who win that, if Philadelphia wins, the Clippers, the Warriors, they're going to have a lot on their hands. If the Bucks win, then I think the Warriors could pull it off. If the Celtics win, I think it's going to be a great series, but I think the Warriors could pull it off. So we'll see, man. We'll see. So I'm excited. It was great to see great basketball in the Western Conference first round, because again, as we know, the Western Conference is a little more rough, a little more tough than the Eastern Conference. But it was great basketball all around. And, again, my highlights for the Western Conference was Nikola Jokic. Without him stepping up for the Nuggets, the Spurs would have won. Because honestly, Nikola Jokic, I think he led the Western Conference in rebounds and assists. And that's something, and steals, I think. That's something serious. That's something serious. I definitely know he led it in rebounds and assists. I have to check and see if he won it in steals. But, and of course, Durant led the first round in scoring, just hands down. But it's going to be exciting to see what the second round beholds for the Rockets and the Warriors. So that sums it up for part 2 of the Western Conference. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, before you go, be sure to like this video, comment down below any thoughts you may have, or even any suggestions for teams that you want me to talk about. And most importantly, be sure to click that red subscribe button. That helps me out a lot. I appreciate it a lot. It helps me out a lot. So be sure to hit that red subscribe button to also get new updates and notifications of new videos that are yet to come. So again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And again, this has been another episode of Be Bold Sports.